Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today we are going to be checking out some add-on scenery that improves New York City. So I bought recently the SamScene 3D New York City Times V2. Also, I bought the IniBuilds New York JFK. Both from the IniBuilds store. They had them on sale, I want to say a few weeks ago, so I picked them up. And today we're going to be checking them out, see if they improve the New York area and it looks any better. Also, we're going to see what the performance is like. So here we are in Flight Sim 2024. These are some static planes parked up here. Looks like some 787s. And looks like an A319 or A320. So that looks good. These again are static planes that's included in the IniBuilds scenery. So let's go ahead and take a look. Let's go up over here. That all looks pretty lovely. Like I said, I think this is Terminal 4. I've seen some Delta stuff on the gate. So Delta flight at Terminal 4 at JFK. And over here, we see the air train moving along. That is really nice. And if you've ever been to New York JFK, you know the air train is a vital piece of JFK, especially right now. A lot of the terminals are under construction, so you can't even get Ubers at some of the terminals. So air train is definitely vital for that. So let's go back up here and look into the tower. All right, let's see that. That's a lot better. Wow. Very nicely modeled here. Very nicely modeled inside the ATC tower here at JFK. So if you want to come, a lot of people like walking into these places and checking it out. So that is pretty nice. You have your little server rack over here. And you have a few folks working. Very nicely done. Very nicely done, IniBuilds. Let's go upstairs. We have some more controllers. I know usually you have like one floor would probably be ground or departures. Another floor would be arrivals. So that's pretty cool. Very, very nicely done. Looks pretty good. All right, let's go checking out some more. Look at a little map of New York. See some weather in the area. Over Manhattan and the Bronx, a little bit over LaGuardia here. Some rain in the area. Very nice. Very nicely done. Cool little static models over there. All right. And there we see the air train, like I said, moving along into the terminals. That looks very nice. All right. Here we have another terminal. I believe this might be like one of the cargo areas here at JFK. Not really sure. Also not sure what terminal this is. It potentially might be... Is this Terminal 8 where American flies out of? I'm not sure. Not 100%. Not 100%. But here we see some more static planes parked up at the gate. It might be America's terminal because usually you get into the airport here. Yeah, you see a few 777s from British Airways parked up. Yeah, this might be American Airlines terminal right here. Maybe we'll see down here. Let's see what detail this shows us. So this is Terminal 1, it looks like. Okay. So this is Terminal 1. And here we see the airlines that fly out of there. Very, very, very well detailed. That is very much like the sign that's there in real life. Okay, so that's T1. Very nice. Again, air train moving along. We're also going to be checking out the performance here. So it gets a little wonky. And again, I have no traffic on, no live traffic. But, of course, seen a few stutters here, and that's one of the things I've seen people complain about online, that is just not very well optimized, even though this is a 2024 premium edition from IniBuilds. But as you can see, it's starting to get a little stuttery as I move along. All right, so this is the terminal here. Oh, it looks like there's some detail inside the terminal. Very nice. Very nice. Looks pretty good. Alright, let's get up out of here. Looks good. Runway markings look good. Gate numbers look good. You can even see what type of aircraft each gate takes here. Very nice. Very nicely done, IniBuilds. Again, performance. If you're not on a, really high-end graphics card, you might struggle a little bit with performance, but I guess that's the price you pay for this much detail. And here we have JetBlue's hangar. Usually you see a few A320s parked out there when you're driving by on the highway. And maybe a few A220s now that they have those. So looks very nice. again, some static parked planes here at the gate. That all looks really good. Really nicely done. Really nicely done. Alright, let's go back up. Let's actually check out JetBlue's terminal over here. T5, if we could locate it. It's over here. Alright, so here is JetBlue's terminal, and here's the old TWA terminal, which is now turned into a hotel. Yep, there it is. And you could see the old aircraft that's still parked out there, actually, to this day. So this is real life. This airplane is still parked out there. And this is the TWA hotel. It's now a hotel. And you could book a few nights stay over here. And here's JetBlue's terminal. This is Terminal 5. This is, I think, arrivals is up. I mean, the departures up top, and arrivals is downstairs. So very nice. Departures up top. Yep. And here is the TWA hotel. And what's really cool is there's this pool that overlooks a little bit of the back of T5 as well as T4 over here. So this would be T4 on the right side, and that is Delta's terminal. And if you stay at this hotel, you could hang at the pool, as you can see this lovely couple doing right here, and you could overlook the runway, which is a really cool thing that I still have on my bucket list to do one night. Spend a night over here, but very nicely detailed, very nicely modeled. See this couple overlooking, and usually like this is where the heavies park at T4, so you'd see a few A380s over here. So very nice. And here's the lovely JetBlue sign, true to life. And I believe over here starts gate 1 for JetBlue, if I'm not mistaken. This is what they call the low side. Yep, gate 1. This is the low side at T5. And if you come over here, this is the rest of the low side. It goes all the way around. And over here is where you have the lav dump. Usually on this side, I believe. I don't believe, I know. But, and then it starts the high side, going up to, I believe, 29 and 30 up here. And this is where they're working on the construction over here between T5 and T7. So that's really true to life, very true to life. Yep, 20 gate 29, 30 is the last one. And over there, going back on this side, we can go up a little bit. Here is where JetBlue usually has a few airplanes parked up. I believe they call this area PZ here at T5. So JetBlue usually uses this area to stage some planes that's parked overnight, and a few ones that's, you know, going out the next morning. So this is the PZ area is what JetBlue calls it here at T5. So that's all well done and nicely modeled. Very nice, very nice. Yes, I do know a little bit about JetBlue ops at T5, as you may have noticed. All right, but that is the IniBuilds JFK with working airtrain. That is really cool to see the airtrain animated. Really, really cool. And again, the performance, it's hit or miss. Some places you get lower frames and some stutters. Some places are better. I believe this is where American has like their area where they fix all their GSE equipment and refuel and stuff like that, I believe. So that is pretty cool. Let's go up higher. This is the end of the runway over here in Jamaica Bay. So pretty nicely done. Over here I believe is some cargo areas, helicopter pad. So that all looks very nice. So again, if you're into detailed airports and you want to fly and get those nice screenshots, IniBuilds JFK looking really good. Again, you probably want to have a high-end graphics card, but I'm rocking a 4070. Nope, I'm rocking a 5070 Ti. So that's what I have, and as you can see, the performance I'm getting when I move around. Of course, I'm in drone mode, just checking out the airport. No live traffic on, or no traffic injection on, but that's what JFK looks like over here. IniBuilds JFK. Even have the construction. And right now, JFK is an absolute zoo right now. It's terrible leaving out of JFK. Here is FedEx little area over here. Very nicely done. But yeah, like I was saying, right now they're doing a lot of construction at JFK. DHL's over here. And it's just a terrible experience, actually. A lot of the terminals, you can't even get an Uber. You got to take the air train to either Federal Circle or the employee parking lot, and then call an Uber. It's just really rough right now traveling out of JFK. LaGuardia is a much better bet, I would say, right now as a New Yorker. It's definitely a lot better leaving out of LaGuardia. Terminal B and C is just so beautiful at LaGuardia now. The traffic flows is just not as bad as it used to be at LaGuardia. Runways are still short, probably still have bad crosswind, but hey, at least the experience in the terminal getting into the terminal is not as bad as it used to be. Alright, let's get back into our plane and do a little quick taxi, and we're going to go check out New York City and see if that's improved. Alright, let's go taxi into this runway. A little bit of stutters here and there and drops of frames, but looking really good. The taxiways are nicely marked. Yeah, it's not looking terrible here at all. Try to go lower in my seat if I could at all. Just go a little bit lower so we can look out the window. There's an Avianca A320, it looks like, parked up. So this is what IniBuilds JFK looks like. And like I said, the performance, it's not terrible, but in some areas you do get some stutters, so do be aware of that and do be mindful of that. You may want to turn down a few of your settings to get some better performance. So like I said, I'm rocking a 5070 Ti with 16 gigs of VRAM, and my performance in JFK used to be pretty decent in the default JFK, but obviously now with the IniBuilds one, it's a little hit or miss, so do take that into consideration. Do definitely take that into consideration. So far so good. I do like the airport. I mean, it's way more detailed than we used to have here at JFK. There you see some what looks to be some de-icing trucks, maybe, potentially. Yep, some de-icing trucks parked up there. Alright, let's go ahead and take off on 22 right. We don't need a lot of runway. And we're going to go ahead to Manhattan and check that out. Alright, one notch of flaps. Very good, very nice. Let's get onto this runway. Again, very well detailed, very well done by IniBuilds over here. Runway markings look pretty good. Taxi signs and taxi stuff looks really good, so we'll take it. Alright, let's get on to the center line here. And let's go flying. Let's go full throttle and let's go in the air. Alright, there's 55 knots. Let's go ahead and rotate. Very nice. There we go, taking out of JFK. Taking off out of JFK. IniBuilds JFK. Alright, let's go ahead and make a right turn. Flaps can come up. Let's head to Manhattan. Check out the city scenery. And there is the lovely JFK behind us as we fly out. Head to Manhattan. Like I said, it's very well done. The tower is modeled. You can see some people in there doing ATC. Most of the terminals are modeled, so it's very nice, very nicely done by IniBuilds for JFK. And it just gives you that more realistic feeling when you fly in out of New York. Especially if you're in New York and you like flying out of here a lot, like myself. Just gives you that much more immersion into the sim, more realism, you know. So decided to pull the trigger on it. I don't really buy a lot of sceneries typically, so that was one of the ones I always wanted to get and try out, so I'm happy I did. Now we're gonna go check out the New York City scenery. So in one of my previous videos, I tried to check out CD Update 11. Everybody kept telling me, oh, that's not CD Update 11, it's not downloaded. And I checked every single thing, and it is saying it is being streamed in the store. When you go check your library and your files, it's saying it's there, it's being streamed, and New York just continued to look terrible for me. The bridges sucked. It was just terrible. So I decided to purchase this New York City scenery. I've been watching for a while, even before City Update 11 was a thing. And I decided to finally pull the trigger on it. Like I said, IniBuilds had a sale a few weeks ago on their store. So I was like, let me pull the trigger on it. This is a place I fly out of a lot. So decided to buy that scenery. So let's go check it out. What I'm a little worried about is the performance. So when you get to Manhattan, I hope we don't get too much stutters, and we will see. We will see. Hopefully the performance is decent.
Please remember to like this video and subscribe to the channel. We would love to have you as part of the Tropical Pixels family.
So let's go ahead and turn autopilot off, and we'll start checking out the bridges over here. And I could already tell from here that they are much improved with the scenery. Very much improved. I could see it already. The bridges look way more realistic from here. But let's see. Let's see if I'm right. Let's go external mode. Get that centered. Here's one of our first bridges we are approaching, and already I could tell it just looks so much better. Even the one to our left there, like this bridge looks way better than it did even with City Update 11 for me. So that's a huge step in the right direction. However, I'm starting to notice already as we approach Manhattan some stutters here in the sim. Oh, there's another one. And it's not OBS doing this. This is just pure sim performance. So the bridge looks lovely. However, the sim becomes a little bit more unstable from a frame rate standpoint and performance standpoint as we get over Manhattan. So that is something to consider if you want to get this scenery. The performance takes a slight hit. I did lower a few of my settings down. So I figured this might have happened. So. And it's still getting a few stutters here in Manhattan, but the bridges, geez, the bridges are night and day difference. It looks so much better than default, so much better. And again, even with City Update 11, these bridges still look terrible for me. And now that I got this scenery, they look pretty good, pretty good.
Hey, that's pretty good.
What is this, the Brooklyn Bridge? I always mix up the bridges that go from Brooklyn to Manhattan. But that looks a lot better, But here we can see some of the performance hits. That one was OBS, it looks like. OBS did say it was a little bit of an overload. But that's the kind of stuff you're going to get. Oh, look at these helipads. Very well done, very well done. Yeah, that one might have been an OBS fault, but still. It's all because this scenery is requiring more resources from my GPU, so that's the reason for that. But downtown here looks lovely. On World Trade looks absolutely gorgeous. The buildings just look more alive and more realistic. So that's a huge plus with this scenery, a huge plus. So here we are on the west side, coming up the west side of Manhattan. Look at One World Trade. Again, performance taking a hit, but that looks absolutely gorgeous. The building looks way more realistic. That is very well done. Alright, as we come back up on the west side, I'm going to stay on the west side here and go check out the George Washington Bridge, which goes from the Bronx into New Jersey. Even down here, I believe like that's Pier 40. That looks a lot better than it used to. I believe that's Pier 40, where the hornblower used to be docked up. So that looks good. And Manhattan just looks a lot more vibrant with this update. The scenery just kind of fixed things a little bit. So it looks good. Here we come up to the cruise ships, cruise terminals there. This is where some of the cruise ships leave from, but could be wrong. There you can see the Empire State, Chrysler Building, well, somewhere over here. That looks good. Looks really good. Let's stay on the west side here. Now we see a cruise ship coming up. But I do notice some performance issues with this. Some frame rates dropping. There's a Carnival Cruise Line. I feel like that always looked that way. I never looked parked up there, but just neither here nor there. There's this building over here. It's just overall better, I guess. And to end it all, we're going to go check out Times Square for sure. We got to land and go check out Times Square, hopefully. Let's take a quick pass over Central Park here before we go further north to check out the George Washington Bridge. Central Park looks to be... always looked decent, I would say. It's one of the things in the city of New York City that never looked terrible, but it appears that there is some more detail here. You can see some sand patches over here in the grass. So that looks pretty good. That looks, I think I would say that's a little better. Even though my graphics turned slightly down, that looks a little bit better. The Central Park is here, nicely done. I guess those are what, baseball fields over there? I don't really frequent Central Park a lot, so I couldn't tell you, to be honest. I have been to a few concerts though at the little stage they got over there, summer stage, but as far as the actual park, I haven't really frequented it a lot. There's some water up here in the north of the park. So that all looks pretty good. That looks pretty good. I guess this is a pool of sorts that's in the park. I would say that looks better than default. Alright, let's go look at the George Washington Bridge, which I could already tell from here is just way better. Like, you could see the definition of the bridge from here. Like, very well modeled. Again, I'm not saying it's perfect or a one-to-one, but compared to what default looks like, this is a lot better. A lot better. Jeez. That is pretty good. Pretty good. There is the West Side Highway. Looks really nice. I thought the performance would be worse, but it seems a little bit better than I was expecting. I did do a quick just fly over before, after I installed it, and it was a little more of a performance hit, but it seems like it's a lot better. Maybe, you know, the area is now cached, so that maybe had some improvements there, but it looks good. It looks good. Look at that bridge. The bridge just looks absolutely gorgeous. Compared to default, this is way better. The bridge is defined. Again, not saying it's realistic or one-to-one, but it's better than what it looked like before, and I feel like that's what we're trying to evaluate here. Is it better than default? Is it worth the money? I mean, that's up to the buyer, and they think it's worth it, but to me, so far, I do see the improvements, that's for sure. The improvements are noticeable. Alright, let's go back down Manhattan on the east side now and check out all these little bridges and waterways. Okay, that one does not look good. That one doesn't seem to be improved right here. This bridge, whatever bridge this is, seems like under it still like blocked off. One of my complaints from the original. So there's one mark against this scenery, but I'm not sure if they covered all these areas, which you would hope they would have. But let's check out all these little bridges here. Alright, I mean the buildings, some of the buildings look to be the original models, some obviously are improved, but for the most part it's decent. It's decent. Alright, coming up on the east side of Manhattan over here, I believe we're approaching Roosevelt Island over here. There are some bridges. I believe it's the Ed Koch Bridge that goes over Roosevelt Island, so we'll fly over that next, see how that looks. This bridge to the left, the smaller one, does look decent, look pretty good. But this bridge, I guess it's the Ed Koch Bridge, this is definitely improved. This is better than what default looks like, for sure. It'd be cool if you could see the cable car coming across, but don't believe we can see it. Oh, we do see it actually. Whoa, there's the cable car going across. What the hell? That is sick. That is sick. I don't know if that's there by default. I don't think so. So that's definitely really, really cool actually. Really, really cool. Alright. That was pretty sick. Seeing the cable cars going across into Roosevelt Island, the red cable cars. So that is cool. Alright, let's go figure out how we could land in Times Square and go check it out, because I believe that's one of the biggest parts of this scenery, is that Times Square has a lot of features. So let's go check that out and see if we could get over here. Maybe we can land on one of these streets. Maybe we can land on this street. Let's see.
Oh, shit. Here we go again.
Let's go into the cockpit. Slow down. Ooh, this is gonna be spicy. This is gonna be really spicy. I'm way too fast, but we're just doing this for the fun of it. Spicy. Very spicy. I'm probably gonna end up on the West Side Highway at this speed, but hey. Woo. Whoa, whoa. Okay. Oh, there's Macy's. So I guess we're on 34th and something right now. That's the Macy's and near Penn Station. Whoa. What? Oh. We binned it. We absolutely binned it. That was fun. Here we are in Manhattan. Upside down. But we knew this was, gonna happen. But we're gonna go into drone mode again and go check out Times Square. Alright, so I know this is Madison Square Garden, actually. So this is 8th Avenue, right? Yep, this is 8th. So this is Madison Square Garden here. Let's go up a little bit. Yep, that's definitely Madison Square Garden. So that's 8th Avenue right there. Over here would be like the little areas where you could go have a few drinks. You can see Fridays there. Very nice. In this corner I actually landed on, I guess this is actually 34th. Over here would be 33rd, I believe. So we actually landed on 34th. Okay. I believe. Yeah, I think so. And up here would be B&H. Oh, Guitar Center has a little ad here. This corner would be B&H, Famous Camera Store. So that's pretty cool. You can't really see it. You kind of make out the awning there in the B&H logo, but watch the performance. Watch the performance. All right, so there's Madison Square Garden to our right, and over here would be, where's Macy's? I know we definitely flew past it when we were flying. So Here is, so this would be 2 Penn Plaza. I used to work on the 15th floor of this building. So that means this would be Macy's block right here. Nope, this one right here. Alright, so here's Macy's. I believe this would be the Macy's. Yep. Whoa, yep, this is Macy's. Correct, correct. Alright, the world's largest department store. Alright, and if we make our way up, we could get into Times Square and just check that out. Don't know what avenue we're going up, but definitely get into Times Square. Wow. Here's the H&M. Ooh, look at these little Easter eggs. That's pretty cool. That is dope. Wow. Very nice. A lot of ads, a lot of billboards. We got Dr. Fauci on the screen. Okay. Interesting choice. The good, the bad, and the hungry. Oh, this is like the 4th of July hot dog eating contest. This is funny. Alright, there we have the Gap, the Old Navy, Lion King ads. Yo, this is pretty sick, actually. Pretty sick. Wow. Look at this. This is beautiful. Very nicely done on the billboards. Got Bill Gates here doing some Microsoft stuff. Got Mr. Musk on the bottom. Trying to sell you some Teslas. James? What? LeBron James is playing for the Knicks? What the hell's going on over here? He's the new king of New York? That's a funny Easter egg right there. Got a picture of A380 on a billboard. The Disney store. This is pretty sick. Some of these actually move. What the hell? I didn't even notice that. That's pretty sick. Oh, a lot of them move. Whoa. This is sick. That is so freaking cool. So freaking cool. MTV signs down there. There is the famous red stairs of Times Square. What the hell? That's pretty sick. And here you'd have a bunch of people asking you to take your picture and charge you an arm and a leg. Oh, but see what we're getting here. Resource usage exceeds GPU. That's not good. Alright, here's Broadway. But that is pretty sick, actually. This is pretty nice. Again, not you need this in a flight sim, but of course it's starting to eat up all my resources in a GPU. That's not good. And here's our lovely Cessna 172 Skyhawk. Alright, so this was a quick review of the IniBuilds JFK and this New York City V2 scenery. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please remember to like and subscribe. I'm going to go ahead and leave it here before my GPU falls apart. You let me know if you think these add-ons are worth it or if they're not. I think they're okay. Yeah, might be a little expensive, but hey, wanted to check it out. I do fly to New York a lot as a New Yorker, so it's one of my favorite things to do. So I decided to pull the trigger on them, but so far I'm not disappointed, especially this Times Square makes it all worth it so far. So please leave a like, leave a comment, and make sure you subscribe to the channel for more videos. See you guys in the next one. Peace.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our flight. We hope you enjoyed the ride.